Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to SDVoE Live. I'm your host, Justin Kennington, and this is TV for Pro AV. We have a very interesting show for you today. A hot topic in the world of AV and elsewhere. It's the world of eSports. We've got a guest, our friend Mike Morgan, who works for a company called New Era Tech. Mike and New Era have been involved in a major, large-scale eSports installation at a university, Harrisburg University. We're going to talk to Mike about that and the bigger world of eSports and specifically what it means to Pro AV. So I hope you'll all stay tuned and watch for that. I also want to remind you to stick around for the after show. That's exclusive content here in the SDVoE Academy. If you're watching us live in the Academy, all you have to do is stay right where you are. Don't touch any buttons. And you'll be joining us in the after show where you can ask questions of me, of my co-host Matt Dodd, and of our guest Mike Morgan about eSports and that whole world. So I hope you'll join us for that. Speaking of my co-host Matt Dodd, I'm going to toss it over to him after a quiz question, and Matt's going to show you some of the latest content here in the SDVoE Academy about eSports. So take it away, Matt, after the quiz.
Hi everybody, here I am again, Matt Dodd here in the education suite of the SDVoE building. Good to see you all again, thanks for coming back to see us. So, eSports, we've had a great time making this course. As you can imagine, eSports, the graphics, I asked my development team, my graphics team just to go mad on this one, pull out all the stops for your enjoyment. So, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Without any further ado, I'm going to throw this over to the video and you can see what you think. But tell us what you think. Get in the chat. Tell us what you think of the elevated, the graphics. It's just fab. Here we go. Have a look at this.
What does your family do on those stay indoors rainy afternoons or on those cold, blustery winter days? Families who are content to let television do its thing often find themselves at its mercy for a choice of entertainment, while people who want television to do their thing entertain themselves with Odyssey. The electronic game of the future.
Esports is big, very big, and every gamer needs their audience to feel immersed in the experience. Vast arrays of screens and video walls filling an entire arena, while hundreds of professional gamers sit at consoles competing for huge sums of money. The AV distribution system which looks after this lot needs to be up to the job. And this course will show you how SDVoE is perfectly matched to this incredible new global phenomenon. Look up the word eSports and you'll see just how quickly this industry is growing. It was just a snippet there. I know it finished a bit quick, but it's just a snippet, just to get you going, so that you'll, after the show, head over to the actual course and take a look. But it's pretty cool, right, JK?
I'm sure they can find that course somewhere beneath our feet, or no, the course is over here on this side, I believe. Click there. Down below, you'll see some resources over there. I think you see some courses.
There. It's down there.
Have a look around. See what you find.
But don't click anything yet. Stay right where you are. Just remember where you're going to click. There's a piece in that course as well about the Harrisburg University. So we've added that to the end of the course, and you'll also see we've added the resource to that, so you can see the case study in there. It's a cool course. Let us know what you think of that opening though, because we enjoyed doing that. How are you, sir? You well? I'm
doing well, thank you. I hope everything's good on your side.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, we've we never really get a chance to. We try, but we shouldn't really. It's not professional to get too close. But everything's good over here. Everything's good over here. Well, we're trying.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Let's not.
No. Let's leave all that stuff in the cool boxes, please. So it's been a busy week, hectic week. Thank you for the eSports piece. I mean, we thoroughly enjoyed it, and this market is huge, isn't it? Absolutely huge.
It's huge. I think what's important right now is the rate of growth. Right? It's remarkable how fast this is catching on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, without any further ado, let's dig into the news. So, first up today in today's news, the opportunity for the broadcast, pro AV and IT industries. Great in that it can bring, it's another market, another vertical that's bringing all these groups together. $1 billion in revenue this year alone, and with media deals and marketing and publishing and media rights and channels, they think that's going to triple over the next 5 years. I mean, there's 450 million people watching gaming. There's 450 million viewers at the moment. I mean, that's akin to football and basketball, or soccer, as we would call it over here in this side of SDVoE house. Nearly. But you think how long it took the football and the basketball industry to get to those numbers, and then you compare that with esports, and it beggars belief, just the growth, the exponential growth that this is on. Interesting piece within there talks about two display technology requirements. It mentions about the LED displays that are being used, but then of course there's a requirement for further displays within the arenas themselves, because these events they are more like a huge basketball or baseball event. Bands coming on and playing out, to start with, to huge audiences, full arena lighting rigs and huge video walls. And then of course you've got the gaming itself. The universities are also taking this extremely seriously. Harrisburg, which you mentioned in the course there, they've created a whole eSports suite, and apparently, I think it's Full Sail University over in the States. They're planning to build a $6 million arena within the campus. So I'm now trying to get my kids signed up to that university. It's incredible. The growth's incredible. Justin, what do you think? What do you think about this?
It makes for sort of a problem with the kids, right? Because now they're playing video games, and you tell them, "Put that down. Go do your homework," and they say, "No, I'm studying for my scholarship." Yeah. I don't know.
I'm telling them to pick it up.
I don't know who to believe here.
Pick it up.
Also mentioned in the piece, which by the way was from our friends at Future Source Consulting, and that's an interesting segue because Adam Cox of Future Source will be joining us on the next episode. He mentioned that there actually is a push to try and get esports into the 2024 Olympic Games. That's how seriously, and again, how radically seriously this has become. 10 years ago I had heard of e-gaming and esports, but as an industry level force, I don't think it was there. So in such a short time, to be talking about billions of dollars and Olympic Games at stake, it's kind of amazing.
2024 Olympics, watch this space. My children might be in it. That'd be the prize money that these guys get as well. So let's take a look at the second news piece you threw at us here, Justin. It's an interesting one. This, certainly from my perspective, very interesting. The whole technology. You can get an esports technology certificate. What's that about?
I thought it was interesting too. That's why I threw it in here. Right. This speaks to as we start to focus our discussion on how esports impacts pro AV. You can very quickly imagine what that impact is going to be. We're talking about stadiums. We're talking about new facilities designed around moving high graphics fidelity, high frame rate content around facilities. And of course, this is right at the core of what Pro AV does, right? Audio and video distribution. So it's important for anyone who wants to take advantage of this opportunity to learn about, what esports is. What does an arena look like from a technology layout perspective? And that's a little bit of what we want to kind of introduce you here to today. But it's nice to see that people are going even more deep into it with deep education. Something I found interesting that was mentioned in this article is the idea that esports can not only impact Pro AV on that obvious business opportunity side, but that esports could be a really good area of recruitment for the Pro AV industry. Right here you have a bunch of mostly young people who've yet to start their careers with a very tech savvy sort of bent, familiar with computers and monitors and how they interact with one another. It could be a field ripe for the AV industry to kind of start, plucking talent and getting them started on careers in our world. What do you think, Matt? You're our educator here. Is this something people should be learning about?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? I know I don't look very old, but I feel old sometimes when in the world of gaming. In fact, as I usually do, I've learned so many things over the course of the last week or so that we've been building out and researching this technology and the growth of it. I think from a technology certification perspective, great. For me, it really helps us to take something that previously, when we were kids, and you mentioned it before, turn that machine off and get on with picking a book up and reading stuff. The world's changing now. Kids don't use books and pens and pencils. They do, but they refer to iPads and laptops and the digital media. We talked about this recently with education. And I think, it just makes sense really that it's fantastic really that what kids were doing before, which was seen as a detraction from learning, is now an opportunity for them to earn a lot of money and to do really well with a career in esports. And actually the fact that the universities are helping to leverage that is a good thing. It takes people who might not have had the opportunity before when they're during their learning pathway, but learning part of life, it gives them an opportunity to stay within the academia world and really help to support the growth. So brilliant, I'm all for it. I need to really make sure that every day's a school day for myself. I think people of our generation, JK, need to watch and learn here because there's a whole big change going on and we need to keep up. We need to keep down with the kids, don't we? We need to keep down with the kids. Speaking of esports and keeping down with the kids and knowing all about it, this chap is well, he knows his stuff, right? Mike Morgan knows his stuff. Shall we bring him in?
Let's bring him on in.
Brilliant. Mike, are you there, sir?
Hey. I am here. How you doing, Matt? How you doing, Justin? Pleasure to be with you.
Hey, Mike, good to see you.
I'll leave you two to have a little chat.
Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Mike, let's start off with a simple clarification, right? Is this esports or is it e-gaming that we're talking about here? And does that matter?
This is esports. They are not gamers, they are athletes. And that's sort of that's the direction that they want to be taken in, and by all means they are athletes in the true sense of the word.
It's kind of maybe a growing up process for that industry even to even be thinking of itself in that level of branding, if you will, and of athleticism, right? There's
Absolutely.
a lot of skill, I imagine, that goes into that hand-eye coordination. So, we've talked a lot in the last few minutes about kind of the big picture of esports and what it means to the industry. Let's focus in a little bit, right? So you and New Era were involved with this installation at Harrisburg University. Walk us through that. Why does a university want to spend so much, time, money, and effort building an esports facility?
Sure. So way back in 2018, I was approached by a very good client of ours, Harrisburg University, and they were mentioning about an esports suite. So immediately I thought, we're setting up a room where kids can come in and play Xbox or PlayStation or something like that. And quickly, this is not the case. It's esports. So I had to do some digging into esports as well, because even though we sit here today and we look at esports and the growth of it and $1 billion industry, in 2018, it was still sort of emerging on the national scene, right? So we had to sort of wrap our arms around what esports was. And once we did that and our eyes were blown away, then we could start engaging Harrisburg University a little bit further as to what are they looking for the ultimate outcome here? What is this esports suite, and what do you guys really want to accomplish with this? So Harrisburg University, they're a small STEM university, and obviously in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They have less than 1,000 on-prem students. They have a lot of remote graduate students that come into that, so they are a STEM university. But they wanted to do, much like with anything that Harrisburg University does, they're led by a great president, Eric Dar, and he goes all in on everything. So he doesn't dip his toes in the water, he jumps right in. Okay, so he did his vision on this, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do with this program and vested fully into this. So he wanted a space that was not only conducive to the esports gaming that they wanted to deploy here, but also as sort of a recruitment tool, much like a large university uses their stadium or their arenas to bring prospective recruits in to say, this is the facade. And it's impressive from that standpoint, but it also shows how vested that particular university or college is into that program. So it was a twofold thing. It was not only something to be productive, but also something that they can use to recruit potential athletes.
Sort of a virtuous cycle too, right? The more those athletes you get in, the more improve your programs and have
absolutely.
a useful space as it is.
Yeah, that leverages the ability for Harrisburg University and other colleges and universities to bring in top athletes into their program. So when Harrisburg was developing this program, they brought in 300 potential athletes for the program, which way they were awarding, I believe it was 22 full scholarships to Harrisburg University. So they had a pool of about 300. And that was worldwide, and we'll get into some of the logistics on that in a little bit. But that was worldwide. So they wanted to get a very good esports program right out of the gate. And in hindsight, here looking back, they were I believe it was Overwatch champions, national champions for the first 2 years. So they like I said, they jumped into that pool all the way up to their neck. From the facilities all the way into the athletes that they went out and got.
Okay, I want to get back to the sort of university business side of this, but first, and I'll remind folks, you can click below and see the case study to get some real details on it. But Mike, in a few words, can you give us a picture of the technology in the system? What does it look like? What does it do?
Sure, absolutely. So like I said, we were brought in at the design level. We also deployed the build side of it, and which is key in a lot of these facilities, because you have to work with the architect, you have to work with the general contractor, because there's a lot of infrastructure that you need to get in place to make sure you have an effective deployment. So in Harrisburg's side, what they really wanted was they wanted an impressive video wall that they can partition up, which we landed. Obviously, there was a lot of back and forth with technologies involved, from LED walls to LCD displays. So we landed on Barco Uni-C displays because the proximity from the viewer to the wall was going to be around 10 feet. Okay, it could even be a little bit closer. So even though we could have done that with LED walls, pixel pitch is going to get really tight, and obviously the cost associated with that's going to get pretty expensive. So we landed on that. And then deployment, as far as moving that signal around, obviously SDVoE was the distribution that we decided upon. And some of the manufacturers we used for that, Aurora multi-video for transceivers to push that signal around. And then obviously Netgear approved SDVoE switches we used there. And to control all this, we used Crestron control system. That is a standard at the university, so we were able to use a Crestron control system. And then obviously, not to go forgotten, but in esports, audio is a big thing. So we had some nice JBL line arrays that were deployed not only for program audio, but then we distributed some of the microphone reinforcement throughout the facility with some of their pendant speakers that we were able to hang throughout the facility as well. So that's a little bit of the manufacturers and the backbone on what we deployed in there. Anything specific you want to know, Justin, you just go right ahead.
You mentioned sound reinforcement. I'm just curious. I know that in many of these games, the players have their headset on so they can talk to their teammates inside the game. Are you accessing that audio feed at all and piping that out to the arena? Is that a thing that happens, or does that stay private for the players? How does that work?
We can do that. The facility does have that ability to do that. They typically don't, because this is their training. This is their practice suite. So it's not really a suite where we would deploy like gaming competitions. Although with the structure of the video wall, so the way we have the video wall laid out is, if you can picture, in the center of it is a 3x3 wall, and then flanking either side is two 2x2 walls. So I know it's a little bit not traditional, but the reason we did that is because we gave them the ability that when they want to, they can partition this up. Most esports gaming competitions are 6-on-6, so they can partition that wall into a 6x6 area where they can have 6x6 competitions on there and see all 6 gamers at the same time. And that's good for the coaches and the directors, so that they can put them in certain scenarios and evaluate them and sort of give them pointers without hanging over them, one by one, trying to run around the room and see everybody individually. So that really worked out well for them. But yes, the audio is not really in a competition type mode, but they can play back things. If they're Twitch, obviously, is the streaming for esports. If they're watching Twitch competitions where they're sitting around as a team and they want to pump audio in there, that's big. So they wanted to make sure they had full, robust audio throughout the facility as well.
Makes sense. Harrisburg is sort of a smaller university. Is this? I'm wondering where the trends are. Is this about smaller universities seeing this opportunity to step into a new arena as a big player? Are the big universities getting into this space as well? Who's in and who's out and who's moving in these days?
Absolutely. So yes, all the universities are getting into this esports arena for competition levels. But to answer your question, yes, the smaller universities saw an opportunity that they can deploy a varsity level athletic program without having to invest the tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars in stadiums and facilities and everything to be competitive, right? So you have these large universities all over the world that someone like Harrisburg, this is their only varsity athletic sport program that they have. So there's no way that they're going to be able to get into basketball or football or something without major investments in there. And like I said, being a STEM university, they're really focused on the sciences and the technology side. So this made perfect sense for them. So when you look at the top programs in esports right now, you're going to see a lot of universities in there where you scratch your head and go, what? Harrisburg, Maryville, Georgia Southern, where are these universities? And they're top esports programs because they got into the game early. They build out these facilities. They're becoming known as the premier higher education esports programs. And yes, the larger universities will get into this, but to be quite honest with you, the larger universities, they're fighting for budget dollars from their basketball, their football, their volleyball, their hockey, whatever program they have in there. So yes, they are being competitive, but the smaller colleges have more resources available to pump into this and really rise to the top level of this competition.
That makes sense, and that's a good stopping point for us now. I'm going to go chat with Matt for a minute, and I hope we'll see you back at the after show. All right, Mike? Absolutely. We'll see what the audience wants to ask about.
Sure.
How much chat is going on in our chat down here? So fantastic. We've struck a chord here, JK. That was a great interview, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's an easy topic to talk about, right? There's so much. It's interesting. No wonder they're talking so much, and so am I.
There's nothing wrong with that. It is a chat show after all. It'd be pretty bad if it was a chat show without chat. We threw some questions at you guys. Here they are. We're going to dig into the answers to these questions, obviously in the after show. But a little bit of housekeeping. JK, do you want to take the floor? Remind people of where they can go after this particular show in what we call. I think it's something to do with. Oh, you tell them.
Well, as you obviously already know, reach out to us in the chat box right here if you're watching us live. But if you have other feedback, other questions, other ideas, find us anytime on Twitter at #SDVoE Live. For those of you who are not watching live right now, watching this maybe on our YouTube channel or watching after the fact on the SDVoE Academy, you can still access the after show. All you have to do is head over to the SDVoE Academy. There's a link somewhere on your screen, depending on where you're viewing this, that will take you over and let you log into the Academy, which is totally free, and watch the after show if you've missed it. And then I hope you'll join us live in 2 weeks so that you can participate in the back and forth in the Q&A that happens in the after show.
Mm-hmm. Very well put. Very well put. And obviously we're looking forward to seeing Mike again in the after show. So please keep your comments coming in, keep your questions in for Mike, because I'll be sitting here receiving those and pushing those questions to our guest, to Mike. So keep them coming in. It's going to take a little while to filter through the comments, I have to say, because people are just. Somebody talked about the first gaming system they ever had. Somebody else then took on I had this. We had lots of Pongs out there, lots of Commodore 64s. I had one of those. The VIC-20. Yeah. Oh, the Acorn Electron. I loved those machines. Anyway, see, we're doing it again. The next episode in 2 weeks' time, episode 15, the evolution of the office space. Tell us more.
Well, we're gonna bring on our friend Adam Cox of Future Source. And he's going to talk about the big trends that have been going on in commercial real estate in the office, right? The move from, of course, we've been on open floor plans for a while and huddle spaces, and a move from a technology perspective towards the bring your own meeting approach to technology spaces. But now that we've had a pandemic sort of overlay itself on, everything in our lives, we're going to look at what trends have been accelerated, what trends have been cut off, and where are we headed in the future of the workplace. Of course, with a special eye on the technology for AV and IT that exist in that workplace. Should be a very interesting episode, so I hope you join us for that.
Absolutely. I believe Adam's a fellow Brit.
Yes, I believe so. He talks funny, if that's what you mean.
How very dare you. How very dare you. Well, for all those of you who are watching this in the SDVoE Academy, stick around, stay exactly where you are. For those of you who aren't, unfortunately, we're not going to keep streaming this out. If you want to come to the after show, you're more than welcome. You've got an extended invite. Come and join us. But for now, we'll see you in the after show. Justin, let's go and get prepared. Thanks for joining us.